Hey y'all, I am Jean, the mill worker's daughter, and I am coming to you from the beautiful, hot, humid Mississippi Gulf Coast. Welcome to the mill worker's daughter. My daddy did two things that I can remember from my earliest memories on up until he had a stroke at age 72. One of them was he worked at a sawmill. He was the saw filer there, and I think that's the only thing he ever did. And I may be wrong, but he was the saw filer, and I guess they filed a lot of saws back in the day. And then he retired from the mill and became a security guard part-time for the same company. And then after he had a stroke, he was unable to go back to work. Mama worked at the shirt factory in Thomasville, where she carpooled with a friend, so she had her ride to work, and we didn't really have to go anywhere. You didn't leave Fulton. Fulton was a self-sufficient town. We had the post office. I'm going around that little town square, if you want to call it that. The post office was right in the center between the mill and the doctor's office. We had a drugstore, we had a cafe, we had a barber shop, a dry goods store, and an IGA, and also a service station and a hotel, which was more like a boarding house. And when I think about it nowadays, it was kind of like Mayberry. We didn't have any law enforcement. We didn't need Andy and Barney, but it was just a small southern town. We didn't have any sidewalks at the time. They have added sidewalks in the houses. The employees rented the houses from the company. So, like I said, you had no reason to leave. You could walk to town, could walk to church. It was very simple. I remember vaguely, and then I had to really verify this, thinking, well, maybe it was my imagination, maybe it was just something I heard, but I'm sure that this memory is real. Remember my daddy coming home with some silver coins, silver dollars on payday. And for some reason, I don't know, it wasn't something that didn't happen all the time, but I remember him coming home one time, and it may have been a regular occurrence, with some silver dollars in his hand. And I found out today to make sure that what they would do, what the company would do, was that you would pay it in paper money, and then say like it was $54, then 50 of the dollars would be in paper money, and the $4 would be in silver dollars. And that's the way they paid the employees until, I guess, the check writing system come in play. I'm pretty sure that's when it ended. Oh, and we did have a little elementary school. Well, I say elementary school. It had grades 1 through 8. We didn't have kindergarten back in those days. And then after the 8th grade, you went out to Grove Hill to Clark County High. So it was really a very simple time. And the garden, it was, I called it Terra Plantation when I was growing up because I thought it was huge. It really wasn't. But Mom and Daddy would fill the freezer up. They would fill the freezer up. That was their accomplishment, to get that food in the freezer. And at the end of the summer, when vegetables, I'll get it out in a minute, when vegetables had quit producing and coming in, unless they had a fall garden, then you had your food to eat throughout the winter and late fall, winter, and early spring. And then by the end of the spring, you wanted your freezer to be empty so you could start the process all over. And that's what we did. We didn't have to have road trips to Mobile. If we went to Mobile, boy, that was an adventure. I mean, we went somewhere. You bragged about that for months. But we didn't do that very often either. So, occasionally, we would go to like Dauphin Island or Gulf Shores. The first memories I have was maybe like 3 or 4 was going to Dauphin Island and playing in the surf at the west end of the island. Things like that were more special then than what they are now. You didn't take it for granted our clothes were either hand-me-downs or homemade. At Easter, well, sometimes I had a homemade Easter dress, which I didn't care. It was a new dress. But at Easter, I always got a new dress and a new pair of shoes. And if you, then in the summertime, we went barefooted. I mean, we didn't have to have shoes in the summertime. In the house we lived in, the first house we lived in Fulton, it had this potbelly heater. And the heater had a crack in it. I mean, it was like a wide crack, too. And when the fire was roaring, you could see it was red. You could see the flames in it. I know God was looking out for us because that house didn't burn down. It was later tore down. And we moved. We finally got to move next door to a better house, which had the little space heaters, had natural gas coming in. So that was better. And then when I was like 13, we moved out to Dickinson, to where the family property is. And, or was, rather, it's not much left now. But my grandmother lived in Dickinson, and we went, moved out to her property, and that's where I lived until I left home. And we still had that garden. It was still plowed by that Jenny. Oh man. I heard a huge splash just then. You may have heard it on here. I've got some gators down there. One of them's rather large, and then there's some small ones. But anyway, I will be bringing you some stories about my growing up years, what life was like in South Alabama in a sawmill town. I'm going to be doing some crafts, some canning, and even something my husband has suggested is how to take spurs off of a rooster. And it's really very simple. I want to teach people, or to encourage people to do things for themselves. Mama didn't can a whole lot. She was like, don't come in this kitchen if that pressure cooker was on. Nope. You don't go in there. It was going to blow up. It never did blow up. But she instilled a fear in me for a long time that I was scared of pressure cookers. Well, I have a pressure cooker now, and I pressure can almost everything. I have a house in Meridian also, so I'm back and forth between Meridian and here on the coast. But here I have emptied freezers several times because the storm's coming in. But now I try to limit what I have in a freezer, and I put my food in jars. Of course, I'm not going to can shrimp. You can do it. I'm not going to sit there and peel those little jokers. Not at all. Canning is really so simple. And I'm going to try some uncharted territory. I want to smoke a Boston butt and can it to see how it does. I've been doing the research, and I think it's doable. I canned ground beef this morning. We've tried it. We really like the canned ground beef. I canned chicken. I've canned potatoes. I dry canned some potatoes this week. Pinto beans, some little baby dry beans. And it's more or less for convenience than anything when I'm doing the beans and the pinto beans and the butter beans and black eyed peas, because that way all you have to do is open a jar and heat it up. You don't have to soak them. You've done all that. And I love to can. It's kind of like a passion. I hope I can make some cherry jam this year. I haven't made any in several years, so I'm going to make some this year. I'm going to try to video that. And be patient with me because this is new, and I've got a lot to learn on how to do a YouTube channel. But please like and share my channel. And I hope y'all enjoyed this because I got some more tales to tell. See you later. Bye.